Say it's an honor to share the stage with such amazing human beings. Thank you so much. My story's about, well, when I was a kid, I had a spark in me, you know? Like, I was always a happy kid. I always had a little bit of a flame going, and nothing could really knock it out, you know? I was beaten by my father, and my mother wasn't around much, and I went to Catholic school. None of that. None of that. The nuns couldn't extinguish the flame that dwelled inside of me. They tried. I was 28 years old. I was living in West Palm Beach, Florida, and I was walking around in the Winn-Dixie supermarket, and I'm shopping, and I felt this like weird feeling come over me, and then I fainted. I blacked out. Just went into a blackout. And that's happened to me before, but it was on purpose with drugs. This time, it was a little scary. I just knew something was wrong. And, you know, I was in and out of consciousness. I did get in an ambulance. I'm in a hospital now. I'm in Palm Beach Gardens Hospital. And I'm laying there, and I got like a tube in my nose, and I'm in this incredible pain, and can't really move much. And what the problem was I had pneumonia. I had double lobal pneumonia in all 5 of the lobes. There's only 4 lobes, that's why it's funny. I'm a comedian, you know, I'm gonna tell jokes here and there. So I'm laying there, and I was just dead. I was like, so, for a minute I was really concerned about myself, which was weird because I hadn't had that experience of worrying about myself for a few years, because at home my wife was dying of AIDS, and she was really sick, obviously, and they didn't have diagnosis for women years ago when they had AIDS. They just called it wasting syndrome. So whatever that is what she had. You know, she didn't have a specific thing, but everything was just falling apart. And all I could think about is, I got to get out of this hospital. I got to get home and take care of her, you know, because that's all I did, was take care of my wife. That was my life, my job. And I loved it. It wasn't a problem. I loved it. You know, people would say, how do you deal with it? How do you ask a question like that? Like, have you ever loved somebody? You know, it was weird to me. So I just was like laying there, and the phone rings, and my friend Jimmy calls me, and he says, Mike, Franny was in a car accident. And I said, no, she can't even fucking walk. She's on so much morphine. There's no way, you know. Why? He goes, yeah, she got in the car. And then I believed it, because I knew her. She drug addict. We were former drug addicts, recovering people. So like if you cut my leg off, I would be upset. But if you gave me heroin right afterwards, I'd be, yeah, I can handle it. You know, I'll be all right, you know. So even though she was suffering with AIDS and going through all this horrible stuff, the morphine helped her feel better. Like, she would, you know, be okay. And I just couldn't. And she probably just thought, hey, I can drive. And she tried to, and the car flipped over. He told me several times, and I knew she was dead, you know. So I laid back, and I was just like, wow. And I had these Buddhist rosaries, because I'm from the Bronx. I was sort of between religions at the time, if anybody knows what I'm talking about. Well, I needed something, you know. I couldn't, because quite honestly, you know, my life, you know, the drugs and the tragedy and people dying that I loved, and the most of all, my wife being so sick after being off of drugs for so long, and really us trying to get our lives together, you know, it just seemed really unfair, you know. And all I could think about a God was the one that I was told as a kid, you know. God's watching, he knows. So I figured that the God who's doing this to me and my wife, you know, I'm not going to fucking pray to him, you know. Hey, what am I going to say? Can you help me? I was like, what the fuck are you doing, you know? It's like, get off the fence, make a move, you know. Kill us or help us, do something. So that wasn't really working for me. So I went to this Buddhist place, because I saw an ad in the paper, Buddhism. So I'm like, oh, let me just see what. And there was a guy just sitting there. They just sit there, these people, and there's no nails or blood or anything. So I was like, I can do that. I probably can do that sitting stuff there. So I walk into this place and I hear, I'm in the, you know, they told me to take my shoes off. I don't fucking take my, you know, I was like, from the Bronx, I take my shoes off. And then I saw everyone else had their shoes off, so I took my shoes off, and that was all they really asked, you know. And they were just nice people, you know. They were very sweet and kind and compassion. They had a lot of compassion. That's what they do. They try to get compassion, these people. Here we fucking call it codependency and charge you money to get rid of it. So, that's it? No one else got that one? All right. So, thank you. So, yeah. So this woman says to me, really sweet, kind, darling, she said, would you like to see the llama? So I'm thinking it's a fucking animal somewhere, like a sheep type of thing, whatever. So I said, well, what's a llama? So she said, no, it's a Tibetan priest, a holy. I said, when she said the word priest, I immediately thought of a scary priest, like a. So I went to the room and I'm like, you know, I don't know about anyone else, but if I was in church kneeling, if my knees didn't hurt, I was in trouble. You know, I was like, your knees have to hurt in order to be really fucking praying right, you know? There's none of this comfort shit, you know what I mean? So I walk in there to meet this guy, and he's just sitting, he's this little man bent over, and he's like, and I'm like, what's he doing? She goes, he just prays and meditates. He's doing that since he escaped Tibet with his family. And he just does that for 20 some odd hours a day, 21 hours a day, and then he eats and goes to sleep for an hour. I mean, who the fuck's paying for this, I want to know? Is this guy getting federal assistance? Are my tax dollars paying for this guy? Like, this is all I can come up with in my head.
That was pretty funny.
That was pretty funny. Do you think it was hard interpreting while you're trying not to laugh? That's what's going on, or I think you did well with it.
I was okay with that.
That's
one.
laughing. Okay.
The mumbling got